What's going on, everybody? The Arid Lord is here. Welcome back to another Game of Thrones review. We got only a few more left. Fan opinion was mixed over the first one, but I wanted to continue forward because there are only a few episodes left, and I'm not doing reaction videos to any of these, so I wanted to at least get my thoughts out there. I know I'm a day late. Had some things come up with the Easter holiday and everything, but I'm back nonetheless to review this one. This one is titled A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which really pertains to, I guess you could say a couple of characters. I'd say Lady Brienne is the one who is more at the forefront, although I guess we should now call her Sir Lady Brienne, now that she is officially a knight, knighted by Jaime Lannister. I really like that scene. I guess you could also say the knight could be Jaime Lannister, since he exhibited knightly qualities by going north to warn Daenerys and Jon and everybody about what Cersei's true plans are. And then I guess you could also say Jorah Mormont, because he said he basically stood up for Tyrion when he had that conversation with Daenerys, and then he also was in a way rewarded by Samwell by receiving is it Heartsbane? It's the sword that is the house sword of House Tarly, and which obviously is big implications because it allows Jorah to fight the White Walkers and deflect their weapons, because the White Walker spears cannot break Valyrian steel. So we have a number of Valyrian steel swords in Winterfell, not to mention all the dragon glass they've been mining and making into weapons. So this episode is, it's funny because I thought of The Walking Dead with the episode The Calm Before, but the episode really wasn't any calm before. It was actually, all the calm was in the beginning of the episode, and then the murderous deeds took place at the end. This episode was all low-key, and some people might have been angry that this was another episode that was under an hour in length, but it didn't really need any more airtime, in my opinion, because it was really, I feel like it was following in the footsteps of episode 1, where it was all of the conversations that we've been wanting and some of the romance, I guess, we've been wanting for many seasons now, because so many characters are talking and bonding and discovering things about each other. Like Daenerys and Sansa, they're both very strong women leaders, and this is really the only season, this is the first season they've met, and this is the first time we're getting to see how they communicate power. And I can understand Sansa's position when she was telling Daenerys, like, what happens after the war, what happens with the North, basically saying, like, the North should be independent, it shouldn't be subjugated to another ruler, because it hasn't fared well in this fight, from everything that happened with Ned Stark to Theon taking it over. It just hasn't fared well. And Sansa is just very protective. She's protective of her own. And all of the experiences she's gone through, I support her. It's not like I'm mad at her for standing up to Daenerys, but you can definitely see Daenerys kind of getting a little power drunk. And I don't want to feed into fan resentment about why people don't like some of the things that Daenerys is doing. Even in season 7, people were like, oh, Daenerys is just so blindly focused on the throne. But you gotta realize that she's desired this thing for a long time. And I think that she bases all of her responsibilities on getting that Iron Throne, because she made that promise to, not only her brother, but basically, in her mind, before she finds out at the end of the episode that she thinks she's the last Targaryen. And she just has this responsibility. She has to do this at all costs. She's established that in her mind. And Sansa telling her that, she can't have Winterfell. Jon dropping the bomb at the end that he's actually the heir with his name Aegon Targaryen. Of course, they cut right before they could have any meaningful dialogue beyond. Because I was waiting for Jon. Because I would have expected Jon's response to be, you know what, I've never really wanted to be king all of my life. I said that when I was crowned king in the North by my own men. Why don't you just take the throne and that's that, because I've never really wanted this thing. You want the Iron Throne way more than I do. So if we make it out of this conflict alive, then you can have the throne. Surprisingly, he didn't say that. Daenerys was kind of denying it, like, oh, don't you think it's suspicious that your brother and best friend validated this information? It's like, well, that tells me she's going to suspicion. Like, she doesn't want to deny it, but you could see in her facial expressions that she's definitely coming to grips with it. She lays out the ground rules that if this information's true, Jon is the true heir and she is not. But it's surprising because this whole episode, Jon was reclusive to himself, and even like when they were making the decision on what to do with Jaime Lannister, Jon just had like this very short response. He's like, yeah, whatever you want to do, just do something with him. Like he didn't have any long speech where he talked about Jaime's service or his history or what he's done to the Starks. He didn't do any of that. He just left the decision to Sansa and Daenerys, and then Brienne stepped in and defended him. But Jon was removed for a lot of this episode, and his conversation with Daenerys didn't have Podrick's song. Like, there was that montage, which was really cool, which is really like the calm before. It's almost like 'twas the night before the Night King, and all was quiet through Winterfell. Like, really like the eve of the battle, like Christmas Eve, like just the the eve of something that's... I almost was reminded maybe of like World War II, if any of you guys have seen like World War II documentaries. During the Battle of the Bulge in France, Germany, like around the border near Belgium, they celebrated Christmas. They were in the war during Christmas, and there was like this temporary ceasefire where both sides, the Allies and the Axis in World War II, had this momentary recognition of, all right, it's a holiday, especially if they're Christian, they can recognize that. So there's a scene, it's Band of Brothers, the show, where they're singing carols. They can't see each other. They're in these trenches, but it's dark, it's at night, they're in the woods, and they're celebrating this holiday even though they can't see each other. It's kind of like this like temporary ceasefire. But then the very next day, after the holiday, they go into killing each other, which is, I just found kind of interesting for the theme of the episode, just because you have, like, you feel it. The whole episode, all these characters are talking. Some of them are getting drunk. Arya and Gendry, I mean, holy crap, making love for the first time. I mean, I understand from Arya's perspective. She's never done it before, and Sansa's always been the one who was supposed to be the wedded princess who was to be given the reins. And even Robert Baratheon said that, like, I have a son, you have a daughter, let's join our houses. That has a lot of irony to it. A lot of people have been quoting that now that Arya found out in this episode that Gendry is the heir of Robert Baratheon, which means she's screwing a Baratheon. So I think that, like, in my mind, like, I think she was like half and half on screwing him. But then when she found out what his ancestry was, I think that just like she got even more enticed to do it, which was cool. And I mean, yeah, and then you had the fireside chats with Tyrion, Tormund. That's when Brienne gets knighted by Jaime. That was a great gesture of character. And it's cool that Jaime he's just like done. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm not the man I used to be, but I have to become someone better. Because, like, in this instance, everything he once knew, his loyalty to Cersei, his position as commander of the Lannister forces, all of that's gone. So now this is a new Jaime that we're seeing, who's basically like a commander, general, fighting alongside people that he was enemy with for a long time, basically recognizing Jon's explanation that they're all on the living side and they have to defeat these brainless, just zombified creatures, almost like The Walking Dead, but they've got some intelligence in terms of how the Night King and his White Walkers operate. So it was a good episode for all of the conversations. I liked the progression of that. I was waiting the whole episode, obviously, for the Daenerys-Jon conversation where Jon told Daenerys what the truth was. And it's interesting because I'm interested to see what Jon's going to do, because it seems like he is actually considering maybe being the king once everything's done, because he hasn't wanted the responsibility. Like, he did not stand up and elect himself Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. That was Sam and he didn't ask for it. Same thing with being king of the North. He led those men to take Winterfell back and do it for his sister Sansa, obligation to his family. And then all of these northern lords crowned him king of the North. And he's like, all right, I'm in a position. Like, it's like he can't escape positions of leadership. He wants to, but he can't. And finally, he receives information that his birth, his blood, like what's in his blood, like basically he's born to be a leader. His name is Aegon Targaryen. He's named after a conqueror who conquered Westeros. He's born to be a leader. So I think maybe in some ways Jon's thinking to himself, you know what? Maybe I should stop denying the leadership that I basically have been. I've been denying it. There's this voice, maybe the Lord of Light or whatever, has been kind of whispering to me, like, you've always been born to be a leader. You were killed and then you were brought back to life. Maybe that's a sign that you were meant to be a leader. So I like that there's that inner turmoil, and we don't know going into this battle. I hope that Daenerys doesn't do something that would indicate she's going to betray Jon. That would be really stupid if her ambitions for the throne cloud her judgment in defeating these fucking White Walkers. I'm going to be so angry. Daenerys is going to lose a lot of supporters if she does something to betray Jon, but I still have to believe they're in love. Like, even though, I mean, yeah, they learned that he's, you know, it's, you know, this aunt relationship, aunt and nephew, but at the same time, they didn't bring that up. That was one thing that wasn't brought up in the conversation. They didn't bring up their familial relationship, which you have to wonder. Are they going to mention that? But I just think that the conversations are done. Like, the next week's episode is the big battle, and a lot of people are going to die. And I don't know. I mean, I had Grey Worm, Jorah, I had Theon. Like, those were three characters I was pretty certain were going to die from this battle, especially since Theon is protecting Bran. The Night King, I don't know. I hope he has better ambitions. That's one thing. I hope the Night King has more of an end game than just trying to make everything an endless night and destroy the old world. Like, it just seemed too simple. I was like, okay, I assumed all along that's what the Night King was trying to do. Just kill everybody, turn them into walkers, and just have an endless winter. Like you didn't need Bran to spell that out for me. Like, I kind of understood that. But does he have any further ambitions? Who is the man who was turned into the Night King? Like, is he... A lot of people seem to think that it's Bran Stark from the future, which doesn't make sense at all. I know they've introduced time travel with the whole Hodor thing, but it wouldn't make sense in the concept of the Night King. It just wouldn't, and I'm not going to believe that theory. My theory is that he's a Targaryen. That the guy that the Children of the Forest captured was a Targaryen, and then he's actually in line to claim the throne. And this theory was popularized when he made that symbol in the Umber, in the Last Hearth, when he killed all the Umbers. And Tormund, the Night's Watch, and Dondarrion find the little Umber boy when he springs to life all Chucky-like and zombified, and then Dondarrion takes his flaming sword and sticks it into him, and it sets the whole thing on fire. But that makes me think of the Targaryens. Like, the symbol looked like the Targaryen emblem, and then, of course, fire, which is a huge connotation with the Targaryens. So I think the Night King is a Targaryen who's trying to claim the throne for himself. But, I mean, you're going to have a bunch of mindless subjects who are just skeleton zombie creatures obeying you. So I don't know. I mean, is there something beyond that? I hope there's something interesting with the White Walkers as to why they're doing this. Those mysterious symbols that we've seen them make for many seasons. Then they made another symbol at the Last Hearth in episode 1 of this season. So what's their end game? I know we only have a few episodes left, and I hope that... Because so far, it has felt rushed, but it was always going to, because they only have 6 episodes to deal with this. We only have 3, 4, 5, and 6. We only have 4 more episodes left, and I know some of them are extended time, but I just want this to be fulfilling what I'm going to be getting out of the remaining episodes. I don't want it to feel rushed. I don't want it to be some, bullshit, the Night King just wanted to kill everyone. It's just this evil invasion of mindless beings, and Jon can stop them. I feel like, again, the show was building towards something bigger. Some people to that point, were angry about Littlefinger dying last season because they thought that he had a bigger master strategy up his sleeve. But Littlefinger was undone, by Bran's magic, all the kids piecing things together. And there was no reason for Littlefinger to be alive for the events of the White Walkers, like, really at all. Like, if you think about it, like, he's just an extra story piece that it's just unnecessary for where you're going with the story. I mean, how would you have fit Littlefinger into Cersei's betrayal and the Night King having a dragon invading the Seven Kingdoms? I don't understand that. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting what happens next episode, because it's gonna be a fucking hour and 40-minute battle, and a lot of shit's going down. And I will give this episode, I don't know, I will give it an 8.5, just because I wish. And it's only because I'm angry we don't have more episodes, because I feel like more side plots could have been explored, more conversations could have been had, and I just feel like there's a checkbox. Like, we got to get to these major points, and the story just feels very expedited. And that's how it felt in Season 7, and that's how I'm feeling it in Season 8. Like, in Seasons 1 through 6, I didn't feel that way. I felt like they were telling a story that was progressing naturally. And now it's like, oh shit, we have 2 seasons left, quick, we gotta throw everything in the kitchen sink into it. I'm like, guys, like, you could have either done a 9th season, or you could have made Season 7 and 8 have 10 episodes. Like, why are Season 7 and 8 an anomaly? Why, like, because the first 6 seasons are 10 episodes, and then you get the last 2 that are 7 and 8, not even 7 and 6 episodes. Like, it's just confusing to me. And they would have been able to go into more detail about some of these characters. Like, for example, what the hell happened to, what the hell, the River Run guy? What the heck was the Tully, the little Tully guy? Remember, Walder Frey says that Edmure Tully was put back in his cell, and then Arya killed all of the Freys. So theoretically, she should have released the Tully guy, but he's not. Like, we have the big battle in this next episode, and he's not in this episode. So either the Golden Company rides north and destroys and kills him, or the Walkers invade and keep going south, and maybe he gets picked up along the ways. But, like, why was he never addressed? Like, Edmure Tully's character was never addressed at all as to what happened to him. Like, it would have made. And that's something. In Season 7, if you had more airtime, you could have had a scene where Arya goes to the basements and she's like, oh, shit, you're my uncle. I should release you. Gather the forces of the Freys and River Run, take over this place, take it back. Like, some conversation like that should have been had, but there was no conversation. And Edmure, they left him out of the story, and then in Season 6, Jaime uses him as a pawn to get River Run back, and then Walder Frey says, oh yeah, I just put him back in his cell. It's like, why did you not go into more detail about that? Like, I just feel like there are some loose plot strings that more episodes and airtime could fix. But that's a criticism with the seasons and the show as a general, and that's not really a criticism about this episode. I like this episode, but I can't, like, I'm always feeling like it's just like a train going at 100 miles an hour. I'm trying to, like, process everything, and I'm like, whoa, like, slow down there, guys. It's almost like what The Walking Dead had the opposite problem in prior seasons, where The Walking Dead was, like, the Negan conflict especially. They were containing episodes, bottle episodes. You knew that Rick was going to face Negan, but they just kept delaying it and delaying it and delaying it. This Season 7 and 8 of this show had the opposite problem, where it's going so freaking fast. Fans are like, can we have either more episodes, more airtime, or just spend more time dealing with this plot? Because it's just like, guys, like, I know, like, these episodes are good, but it's just, frustrating. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. This is my episode 2 review. Only a few more of these left, but I wanted to stay true to them. I know only a few of you are kind of invested in watching them because of the hiatus in The Walking Dead. I'm still going to have Walking Dead vlogs coming out. I have like 1 or 2 I'm going to schedule to upload, and you should see those coming out. So Walking Dead fans, do not stress. I have stuff coming for you. So thank you guys, and I'll see you later. Peace out.